Before tonight's tale begins, I want you all to comment what time it is right now and where you are watching from. Are you cozy in bed in New York, winding down after a long day in London, or perhaps watching the sunrise in Tokyo? Let me know in the comments below. And let's begin our journey into the magical world of the Brothers Grimm together. Story 1. Rumpelstiltskin. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills and golden wheat fields, there lived a poor miller who had one treasure in his life: his beautiful daughter. She was kind and clever, with eyes that sparkled like morning dew, and a gentle way about her that made everyone who met her smile. Now, this miller was a good man, but he had one fatal flaw. He loved to boast, to make himself seem more important than he truly was. One fateful day, the miller found himself in the presence of the king himself. The king was touring the countryside, and the miller, desperate to impress, said something he would come to regret with all his heart. "Your Majesty," the miller proclaimed, bowing low, "I have a daughter who possesses the most remarkable gift in all the land. She can spin straw into pure gold." The king's eyes lit up with interest, for he loved gold more than anything in the world. His treasury was already overflowing, but he always wanted more. "Is that so?" said the king, stroking his beard thoughtfully. "Then you must bring her to the castle at once. I should very much like to see this miracle for myself." The poor miller realized too late what he had done. His daughter couldn't spin straw into gold any more than she could pluck the moon from the sky. But the king's word was law, and so the next morning, the miller brought his daughter to the castle, his heart heavy with worry. The king led the young woman to a small room in one of the castle towers. The room was filled from floor to ceiling with golden straw, and in the middle sat a spinning wheel. "You have until morning," the king said sternly, his eyes cold as winter frost. "If by sunrise this straw is not spun into gold, you will pay with your life." With that, he swept out of the room, and the heavy door clanged shut behind him. The key turned in the lock with a sound like a death knell. The miller's daughter sat down on the floor and began to weep. She had never felt so alone, so afraid, so utterly helpless. What could she do? She had no idea how to spin straw into gold. It was impossible. She wept and wept until her tears made little pools on the stone floor. Suddenly, the door opened, though she had heard no key in the In walked the strangest little man she had ever seen. He was no taller than her knee, with a long nose, bright twinkling eyes, and a mischievous smile. He wore a pointed cap and carried a crooked walking stick. "Good evening, young lady," said the little man, his voice surprisingly deep and rich. "Why do you weep so bitterly on this fine night?" "Oh," cried the miller's daughter, "I must spin all this straw into gold by morning, or the king will have me killed, and I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do at all." The little man walked around the room, examining the straw, tapping the spinning wheel with his stick, humming a curious little tune. He hummed. "And what will you give me if I spin this straw into gold for you?" The young woman's heart leaped with hope. "I'll give you my necklace," she said quickly, taking off the simple golden chain she wore around her neck. It had been her mother's, and it was all she had of value. The little man took the necklace, examined it, and nodded. "Very well," he said. "Now go and rest in that corner. Close your eyes, and don't peek, no matter what sounds you hear." The miller's daughter did as she was told. She curled up in the corner and closed her eyes, though she was far too anxious to sleep. She heard the spinning wheel begin to turn. Whir, whir, whir. It spun faster than any spinning wheel she had ever heard, faster than seemed possible. The sound was almost like singing, like music, like magic itself. Whir, whir, whir it went, on and on through the night. When the first light of dawn crept through the tiny window, the miller's daughter opened her eyes. The little man was gone, vanished as mysteriously as he had appeared. And the straw had all been spun into the most beautiful gold thread, gleaming and glowing in the morning light. The bobbins were full of it. The floor was covered with spools of it, and it was the purest, most perfect gold anyone had ever seen. When the king unlocked the door and saw the gold, his eyes grew wide with delight and greed. "Magnificent!" he cried. "Absolutely magnificent!" But instead of releasing the young woman as she had hoped, he led her to an even larger room, filled with even more straw. "Spin this into gold by morning," he commanded, "and you shall have rich rewards. But fail, and you know what will happen." Again the door was locked, and again the miller's daughter wept in despair. And again, just as before, the little door opened, and the strange little man appeared. "What will you give me this time?" he asked, already walking toward the spinning wheel. "I'll give you my ring," she said, pulling a simple silver ring from her finger. It too had belonged to her mother. The little man took the ring, examined it in the light, and nodded. "Very well," he said. "Close your eyes and rest." Once more the spinning wheel sang its magical song through the night. Whir, whir, whir. And once more, by morning, all the straw had been transformed into glittering gold. The king was beside himself with joy when he saw it. His greedy heart pounded with excitement. But still, it wasn't enough. He took the miller's daughter to the largest room in the entire castle, absolutely filled to the rafters with straw. "One more time," he said, "spin all this straw into gold, and I will make you my queen. You will wear a crown and live in luxury all your days. But if you fail..." He didn't need to finish the threat. The door locked behind him with a boom that echoed through the chamber. The miller's daughter sank to the floor. She had nothing left to give. No necklace, no ring, nothing of value at all. When the little man appeared for the third time, she told him so, weeping. Said the little man, stroking his long nose thoughtfully. "Then promise me this. When you become queen, your first child shall be mine." The young woman's heart froze. Give away her child, her own baby? It seemed a terrible thing. But then again, she might never become queen at all. She might never have a child. And if she didn't agree, she would surely die before the sun rose. So she nodded and gave her promise. The little man smiled, showing small, pointed teeth, and set to work. All night long, the wheel whirred and sang, whirred and sang. By morning, mountains of golden thread filled the room, more gold than the king had ever seen. True to his word, the king married the miller's daughter. She became queen, and for a time, she was so happy. She wore beautiful gowns, lived in a magnificent palace, and wanted for nothing. After a year had passed, she gave birth to a beautiful baby, a son with eyes as blue as summer sky and hair as soft as dandelion fluff. She loved him more than anything in the world, more than all the gold in the kingdom. She had almost forgotten about the little man. But one night, when she was alone in her chambers singing a lullaby to her baby, the door opened, and there he stood. "I've come for what you promised," he said simply, reaching out his small hands toward the child. "No," cried the queen, clutching her baby close. "Please, anything but this. I'll give you all the riches of the kingdom, all the gold and jewels you could want. Only let me keep my child." The little man shook his head. "I have no use for riches," he said. "A promise is a promise, You gave your word." The queen wept so piteously, so desperately, that even the little man's strange heart was touched. "Very well," he said at last. "I will give you 3 days. If in that time you can guess my name, you may keep your child. But if you cannot guess it by the end of the 3rd night, the baby is mine." When he vanished, the queen immediately sent messengers throughout the entire kingdom. She ordered them to collect every name they could find, common and uncommon, strange and ordinary. She stayed up all night making lists. Thomas, Richard, William, Frederick, Alexander, Benjamin. She wrote down hundreds and hundreds of names. When the little man appeared the next evening, the queen began reciting names. Is it Caspar? Is it Melchior? Is it Balthazar? She went through every name on her list, one after another, after another. But to each one, the little man simply shook his head and smiled. "No, that's not my name. No, that's not my name. No, that's not my name." On the 2nd day, the queen sent her messengers even farther, to distant villages and far-off lands. "Find the most unusual names," she commanded. "Search everywhere." They returned with lists of the strangest, most peculiar names anyone had ever heard. That evening, when the little man appeared, the queen tried again. "Is it Sheepshanks? Is it Crookshanks? Is it Spindleshanks?" She recited every bizarre and unusual name her messengers had discovered. But still, the little man shook his head. "No, that's not my name. No, that's not my name. No, that's not my name." The queen's heart sank as he disappeared. This was her last chance. Tomorrow was the 3rd day. On the 3rd day, one of her most faithful messengers returned very late in the afternoon. "Your Majesty," he said, bowing low, "I searched far and wide, but I heard no new names. However, as I was returning through the dark forest, I came upon a curious sight. I saw a small house I had never noticed before, and in front of it burned a bright fire. Dancing around the fire was a little man, hopping on one leg and singing a song. I hid behind a tree and listened. This is what he sang. Today I bake, tomorrow I brew. The next day, the queen's child I'll take too. How glad I am that nobody knows that Rumpelstiltskin is my name. The queen's heart leaped with joy and relief. She could hardly wait for evening to come. When the little man appeared that night, he was smiling confidently. "Well, Your Majesty," he said, rubbing his hands together, "this is your last chance. What is my name?" The queen pretended to think hard. "Is it Conrad?" she asked. "No," said the little man, grinning widely. "Is it Henry?" "No." He began to laugh and dance a little jig. "Then could it be Rumpelstiltskin?" "The devil told you that." "The devil told you that!" shrieked the little man. His face turned bright red with rage. He stamped his right foot so hard that it went through the floor up his waist. Then, in his fury, he grabbed his left foot with both hands and pulled so hard that he tore himself in two. And that was the end of Rumpelstiltskin. The queen kept her baby safe, and he grew up to be a wise and gentle prince. She never forgot how close she had come to losing him, and she taught him always to be careful with his promises, and always to be kind to those in need. And she never, ever exaggerated the truth again. The kingdom prospered under her wisdom, and the people loved their queen. On quiet evenings, she would sometimes look out the window toward the dark forest and think of the strange little man who could spin straw into gold. She wondered where he had come from and why he had wanted a child so badly. But these were mysteries that would never be solved. And so the queen, the king, and their son lived happily ever after, treasuring each day together. And the strange tale of Rumpelstiltskin became a story told around firesides for generations to come, a reminder that the most precious things in life cannot be bought with all the gold in the world. And now, dear listener, as the moon rises higher in the night sky, let us journey to another time and another place where a proud princess learned a lesson about kindness, promises, and the magic that lives in keeping one's word. Once upon a time, when magic still wove through the world like golden threads through a tapestry, there was a kingdom blessed with peace and prosperity. The castle stood tall and proud, with towers that seemed to touch the clouds, and gardens that bloomed with flowers of every color imaginable. In this castle lived a king who was wise and just, beloved by all his people. He had 3 daughters, each more beautiful than the last. But the youngest was so lovely that even the sun seemed to pause to admire her when it shone upon her face. This young princess had one favorite pastime above all others. Near the castle, deep in the cool shade of ancient oak and beech trees, there was a well, a spring of the clearest, coldest water you could imagine. On hot summer days, the princess would go there to play. She would sit on the edge of the well, beneath the spreading branches, and toss her favorite toy into the air again and again. This toy was a golden ball, smooth and perfect, that caught the sunlight and sparkled like a small sun itself. It had been a gift from her father on her last birthday, and she treasured it above all her possessions. One particularly warm afternoon, when the air hung heavy and still, the princess went to her favorite spot by the well. She sat in the cool shade, grateful to escape the heat of the summer sun, and began tossing her golden ball high into the air, watching it rise and fall, glittering against the blue sky. Higher and higher she threw it, laughing with delight at her game. But then, as sometimes happens, the ball slipped from her hands. Instead of catching it, as she always did, her fingers closed on empty air. The golden ball bounced once on the stone edge of the well, and then, with a splash that seemed to echo through the quiet forest, it fell into the water. The princess rushed to the edge and looked down, but the well was so deep that she could not see the bottom. Her precious ball had disappeared into the darkness below. The princess began to cry. She cried louder than she had ever cried before. Great sobs that shook her whole body. She had never lost anything so precious to her, and the thought of her beautiful golden ball lying lost in the cold darkness of the well was more than she could bear. Her tears fell like rain, splashing into the well to join the water that had swallowed her treasure. "Why are you crying so hard, princess?" came a voice from somewhere nearby. "Your weeping would move even a stone to pity." The princess looked around, startled. She wiped her eyes and searched for the source of the voice. At first, she saw nothing. Then her eyes fell upon the most unusual sight. Sitting on a lily pad at the edge of the well was a frog, a large green frog with bulging eyes and wet, glistening skin. He was looking directly at her with what seemed almost like concern. "Oh, it's you, you old water splasher," said the princess, not very politely. "I'm crying because my golden ball has fallen into the well. My beautiful, precious golden ball that my father gave me. It's gone forever, lost in the dark water. Dry your tears, princess," said the frog in his deep, croaking voice. "I can help you. I can fetch your ball from the bottom of the well. But what will you give me if I bring back your treasure?" The princess's heart leaped with hope. "Oh, anything you want, dear frog. I'll give you my jewels, my pearls, my finest dresses. I'll even give you the golden crown I wear on feast days. Anything at all. The frog shook his head slowly. "I have no need for jewels or pearls or crowns or fancy dresses," he said. "But if you will promise to be my friend and companion, to let me sit beside you at your table and eat from your golden plate and drink from your golden cup, and to let me sleep on your pillow in your comfortable bed, if you promise me all this, then I will dive down and bring back your golden ball." The princess thought about this for just a moment. Really, she didn't think about it very hard at all. A frog wanting to live in the castle? A frog eating from her plate and sleeping on her pillow? How ridiculous! How impossible! Frogs lived in ponds and wells, not in royal palaces. This frog would never be able to leave the water and come to the castle. So what harm was there in making a promise she would never have to keep? Yes, of course," she said quickly, eager to get her ball back. "I promise everything you ask. I'll be your friend and companion. Now please, get my ball." The frog nodded once, then dove beneath the surface of the water. The princess watched as ripples spread across the well. She waited and waited, and just when she was beginning to worry, the frog's head popped back up. In his mouth, gleaming and golden, was her precious ball. The frog swam to the edge and dropped the ball onto the grass. The princess snatched it up with a cry of joy, so happy to have her treasure back that she immediately forgot all about the frog and his request. She turned and ran back toward the castle, holding her ball tight. "Wait! Wait!" called the frog. "Take me with you. I cannot run as fast as you." But the princess didn't stop, didn't even slow down. She ran all the way home and shut the door behind her. And the poor frog was left alone by the well. Slowly, sadly, he hopped back into the water. The next day, the princess had quite forgotten about the frog and her promise. She sat at dinner with her father, the king, and all the royal court, eating from her golden plate in the grand dining hall. The servants brought course after course of delicious food, and there was much laughter and conversation. The princess was just reaching for a particularly tasty morsel when she heard a strange sound. Splish, splash, splish, splash. Something was climbing up the marble stairs outside the dining hall. Something wet was making its slow way up, step by step by step. Then came a gentle knocking at the door, and a voice called out, "Princess, youngest princess, open the door for me. Have you forgotten yesterday by the well so soon? Open the door for me." The princess jumped from her seat and ran to the door. She opened it a crack, and there sat the frog, wet and green, looking up at her with his large, patient eyes. The princess slammed the door shut and hurried back to her seat, her heart pounding. Her face had gone quite pale. The king, who was wise and noticed everything, saw his daughter's distress. "My child," he said gently, "what has frightened you? Is there a giant at the door, come to carry you away?" "No, father," said the princess quietly, her eyes downcast. "Is it a wicked witch or an evil dragon?" "No, father." "Then what is it?" "It's just a disgusting frog," said the princess, her voice barely above a whisper. And then, because her father's kind eyes were upon her, she told him the whole story. She told him about dropping her golden ball into the well, and how the frog had retrieved it for her, and what she had promised him in return. She told him how she had run away and left the frog behind. The king listened carefully to every word. When she finished, his face was serious. "My daughter," he said in a voice that was firm but not unkind, "a promise is a promise. What one promises, one must perform. It doesn't matter if the promise was made to a king or to a frog. Your word is your honor. You must keep your promise." The princess felt tears sting her eyes, but she knew her father was right. With heavy steps, she walked to the door and opened it. The frog hopped inside, following close behind her, his wet feet making little pat-pat sounds on the marble floor. He followed her all the way back to her chair. "Lift me up beside you," said the frog. The princess didn't want to, but she glanced at her father, who nodded. She reached down, very, very carefully, trying not to actually touch the frog's cold, wet skin, and lifted him onto the chair beside her. "Now push me closer to your plate," said the frog. Again the princess obeyed, though every movement made her more uncomfortable. The frog hopped onto the table and began to eat from her golden plate, taking small bites of her food. The princess found she had quite lost her appetite. She could barely eat a thing, watching the frog beside her. But the frog seemed to enjoy every morsel immensely. "Ah, that was delicious," said the frog when he had eaten his fill. "Now I am tired. Carry me upstairs to your room and prepare your silken bed so that we may sleep." At this, the princess began to cry again. She really, truly did not want to touch the cold, wet frog, much less have him sleep on her beautiful, clean bed. But again, she looked at her father, and again he nodded gravely. A promise was a promise. So the princess picked up the frog, holding him at arm's length, and carried him upstairs to her room. She set him in the farthest corner, as far from her bed as possible, and climbed into her comfortable bed, pulling the covers up to her chin. "I am your companion now," said the frog from the corner. "I should sleep near you, on your pillow, as you promised." "No," cried the princess. "That's too much. You can sleep in the corner." "You gave your word," the frog reminded her gently. "A promise is a promise." The princess knew he was right, but she had reached the end of her patience. All day she had tried to keep her promise, uncomfortable as it had made her. She had let the frog eat from her plate. She had carried him to her room. But this was simply too much. In a fit of anger and frustration, she jumped up, grabbed the frog, and threw him against the wall. "Now you'll leave me in peace, you terrible frog," she cried. But something magical happened in that moment. The instant the frog touched the wall, there was a flash of golden light that filled the entire room. The princess had to shield her eyes. When she could see again, the frog was gone. In his place stood a young man, a prince with kind eyes and a gentle smile. He was dressed in fine clothes, and on his head sat a golden crown. The princess gasped and stepped back, but the prince held up his hand peacefully. "Don't be afraid," he said, in a voice that was somehow familiar. It was the same voice the frog had used, but now it was warm and human. "Let me tell you my story, and then you will understand everything." The prince sat down on the edge of her bed, and the princess, too amazed and curious to be afraid, sat in her chair and listened as he told his tale. "I am a prince from a kingdom far from here," he began. "Some years ago, I offended a powerful witch. I was young and foolish, and I laughed at her when she came to our castle. I mocked her appearance and said unkind things. In her anger, she cursed me. She transformed me into a frog and said I would remain that way until a princess allowed me to eat from her plate, sleep in her chamber, and until I was, well, until something happened that would break the spell." "What broke the spell?" asked the princess softly. The prince smiled. "Different things break different curses. For mine, I had to find someone who would keep their promise to me, even when it was difficult and uncomfortable. Someone who valued honor above comfort. When you threw me against the wall just now, you were at the very end of your patience. But you had kept your word all day. You had let me eat from your plate and come to your chamber, even though everything in you wanted to refuse. The curse recognized that you were a person of your word, even when it cost you something. And so, it was broken. The princess felt ashamed of how she had treated him, and how reluctantly she had kept her promise. "I'm sorry I was so unkind to you," she said. "You were always polite to me, even when I was rude to you." "You kept your promise," said the prince. "That's what matters. And now, if you would permit it, I would like to return to my kingdom. And I would be honored if you would come with me. My father and mother would be so happy to know I've been freed from the curse." The princess thought about this. The prince seemed kind and gentle. He had been patient with her even when she had been unkind, and he had taught her an important lesson about keeping promises. The next morning, the princess went to her father and told him everything that had happened. The king was amazed and delighted. He gave his blessing for his daughter to go with the prince to his kingdom. As they prepared to leave, a magnificent carriage arrived, pulled by 8 white horses with ostrich feathers on their heads and golden chains. Behind the carriage rode the prince's faithful servant, Henry, who had been so sad when his master was transformed into a frog that he had ordered 3 iron bands wrapped around his heart to keep it from breaking with grief. Now, as they rode away from the castle toward the prince's kingdom, they heard a loud crack, like wood splitting. "What was that?" cried the princess, startled. "Is the carriage breaking?" "No," said the prince, smiling. "That is faithful Henry's heart. The iron bands are breaking now that I am free, and he is happy once more." 2 more times they heard the crack of breaking iron, and each time the prince explained that it was another band breaking from faithful Henry's heart. The prince and princess traveled to his kingdom, where there was great rejoicing. The king and queen welcomed the princess with open arms, grateful to her for breaking the curse on their son. In time, the prince and princess were married, and they ruled the kingdom with wisdom and kindness. The princess never forgot the lesson she had learned from the Frog Prince. She taught her own children always to keep their promises, no matter how difficult, and always to treat everyone with kindness and respect, no matter how they appeared. For you never know when someone who seems ordinary might be extraordinary, and a promise kept might lead to magic. And they all lived happily ever after. As the stars twinkle overhead and the night grows deeper, let us journey now to a tale of love that looks beyond appearances, of beauty that lives within the heart, and of the transformative power of kindness and compassion. Once upon a time, in a bustling city filled with merchants and traders, there lived a wealthy merchant who had 3 daughters. The 2 eldest daughters were vain and proud, always concerned with the latest fashions, the grandest parties, and the most expensive jewels. They spent their father's money freely and thought themselves far superior to everyone around them. But the youngest daughter was different. She was so kind, so gentle, so beautiful, both inside and out, that everyone called her Beauty, and the name suited her perfectly. Beauty loved to read. While her sisters attended balls and gossip parties, she would curl up in the library with a book, traveling to far-off lands and distant times through the pages of her stories. She helped the servants with their work, sang as she went about the house, and had a kind word for everyone she met. Her father loved all his daughters, but Beauty held a special place in his heart because of her gentle, loving nature. The merchant's life was good. His ships sailed to distant ports and returned laden with exotic goods and treasures. His warehouses were full, his coffers overflowing. The family wanted for nothing. The eldest daughters had gowns made of silk and satin, jewels that sparkled like captured starlight, and every luxury they could desire. But fortune, as it sometimes does, can change as quickly as the wind. One terrible day, news came that all of the merchant's ships had been lost at sea in a great storm. Every single one. His entire fortune gone in a single night. The family was ruined. The merchant, now a poor man, had to sell their grand house in the city. All the fine furniture, the paintings, the tapestries, everything had to go to pay his debts. The family moved to a small cottage deep in the countryside, far from the city and the life they had known. It was a humble place with just a few rooms, surrounded by a small garden and fields that would need to be tended. The 2 eldest daughters were horrified. "How can we live like this?" they wailed. "What will people think? We're meant for better things." They refused to do any work, spending their days crying and complaining about their misfortune, mourning the loss of their fine clothes and wealthy suitors. But Beauty adapted to their new life with grace and courage. She rose early each morning and cleaned the cottage until it shone. She cooked meals for her father and sisters. She tended the garden, growing vegetables to feed the family. She sang as she worked, and slowly their little cottage began to feel like a home. In the evenings, she would read to her father, and for a few hours, they could forget their troubles and lose themselves in stories. Years passed in this way. The merchant grew older, his hair turning silver, his face becoming lined with care. But he bore his misfortune with dignity, and he was grateful for Beauty's constant love and support. His elder daughters remained bitter and unhappy, blaming everyone but themselves for their reduced circumstances. Then, one day, wonderful news arrived. One of the merchant's ships, a ship he had thought lost forever, had made it safely to port after all. It carried a valuable cargo that would restore at least part of his fortune. The merchant prepared to travel to the city to see to his affairs. "Father," cried the two eldest daughters, "since you're going to the city, you must bring us gifts." "Bring me a new gown of the finest silk," said one. "Bring me jewels and perfumes," demanded the other. They gave him long lists of expensive things they wanted. The merchant turned to Beauty. "And what would you like, my dear child?" Beauty smiled and kissed her father's cheek. "I need nothing, Father. Just come home safely. That's all I wish for." But her father insisted. "Come now, surely there must be something you desire." Beauty thought for a moment. Outside the cottage window, snow was beginning to fall, and everything was white and cold. "Well," she said, "if you happen to see one, I would love a rose. We have none in our garden, and I miss their beauty and sweet scent. But only if it's no trouble." Her father laughed and promised to bring her the finest rose he could find. The merchant traveled to the city and attended to his business. But alas, the news was not as good as he had hoped. Most of the cargo had been damaged, and after paying his creditors, there was very little left. He certainly could not afford the expensive gifts his elder daughters had requested. With a heavy heart, he began the journey home. As he traveled through the forest, night fell, and with it came a terrible storm. Snow fell thick and fast, driven by howling winds. The merchant couldn't see the path ahead. His horse stumbled through the drifts, and he feared they would both perish in the cold and darkness. He had never felt so lost, so alone, so afraid. Just when he thought all was hopeless, he saw a light shining through the trees. Following it, he came upon the most magnificent palace he had ever seen. Every window blazed with warm light, and the path leading to it was mysteriously clear of snow. Desperate for shelter, the merchant approached and found the great doors standing open, as if in welcome. "Hello?" he called, stepping inside. "Is anyone here?" No one answered, but the palace was warm and inviting. Candles lit themselves as he walked down the corridors. He found a room with a fire burning merrily in the hearth, and a table set with a delicious meal: roasted meat, fresh bread, wine, and fruits. The merchant was cold and hungry, and since there seemed to be no one to ask permission from, he sat down and ate gratefully. After his meal, he found a bedroom prepared with fresh linens and a soft bed. Exhausted from his journey and the ordeal in the storm, he fell into a deep sleep. When he woke the next morning, the storm had passed. Sunlight streamed through the windows. On a chair beside the bed, he found his clothes cleaned and mended, and a fresh breakfast waiting on a tray. Still, he saw no servants, heard no voices. The palace seemed to be empty, yet someone, or something, was certainly caring for him. The merchant ate his breakfast and prepared to leave, grateful for the mysterious hospitality. As he walked through the gardens toward where he had left his horse, he stopped suddenly. There, in the midst of winter, was a rose garden in full bloom. The roses were the most beautiful he had ever seen, their petals perfect, their fragrance intoxicating. He remembered Beauty's request. "Just one rose," he said to himself. "Surely, whoever owns this palace won't mind." He reached out and plucked the most beautiful rose of all, a deep red bloom with petals like velvet. The moment he took the rose, there was a terrible roar that shook the very ground beneath his feet. The merchant spun around to see the most fearsome creature he had ever encountered. It walked upright like a man, but had the body and head of a beast, part lion, part bear, with sharp claws and terrible fangs. Its eyes glowed with anger, and its voice, when it spoke, was like thunder. "How dare you!" roared the beast. "I sheltered you in my home, fed you, kept you warm and safe, and this is how you repay my kindness? By stealing my roses, the one thing I treasure above all else in this world. For this, you must die." The merchant fell to his knees, trembling with fear. "Please, forgive me. I meant no harm. The rose wasn't for me. It was for my daughter, my youngest daughter, Beauty. She asked for nothing else, only a single rose. Please have mercy." The beast paused, considering. "You have a daughter?" "3 daughters, my lord. But Beauty is the kindest, most loving child. She didn't want jewels or fine gowns. She only wished for a rose." The beast growled, pacing back and forth, his claws clicking on the stone path. "Very well," he said at last. "I will spare your life on one condition. In 3 months' time, you must return here, or you must send one of your daughters in your place. If you do neither, I will come to your home and destroy everything you love. Do you understand?" The merchant nodded miserably. The beast waved his paw, and the merchant found himself suddenly at the edge of the forest, his horse beside him, with the rose still clutched in his hand. He rode home in despair, knowing he could never return to the beast, and knowing he could never ask one of his daughters to go in his place. When he arrived home, his daughters rushed out to greet him. The two eldest ones immediately demanded their gifts, but when they saw he had brought nothing for them, they turned away in disappointment and anger. Beauty, however, ran to her father and threw her arms around him. "Father, I was so worried. You look exhausted and sad. What happened?" The merchant held her close and wept. Then he told them the whole story about getting lost in the storm, finding the mysterious palace, and his terrible encounter with the beast. When he finished, his eldest daughters turned on Beauty. "This is all your fault," they shrieked. "If you hadn't asked for that stupid rose, Father would be safe. You've doomed him with your selfish request." But Beauty's mind was already made up. "Father," she said calmly, "I will go to the beast's palace in your place." "No," cried the merchant, "I won't allow it. I couldn't bear to lose you." "Father, this is my fault. I asked for the rose. Besides, perhaps the beast is not as terrible as he seems. Perhaps I can reason with him. And if not, well, better that I should face this danger than you." For weeks, the merchant refused to even consider it. But Beauty was determined, and finally, he realized he could not stop her. When the 3 months had passed, Beauty and her father set out together for the beast's palace. They arrived as evening fell. The palace looked even more magnificent in the twilight, all its windows glowing with welcoming light. The doors opened before them, and they entered to find a feast laid out in the great hall. But this time, there were 2 places set. As they sat down, uncertain and afraid, the beast entered. Beauty's father tried to stand between them, but Beauty moved forward bravely to face the creature. Up close, the beast was even more terrifying than her father had described. He was enormous, with fangs that gleamed in the candlelight and claws that could tear through stone. But Beauty kept her voice steady. "I am Beauty," she said. "I have come in my father's place." The beast looked at her for a long moment. "You came willingly?" His voice was gruff, but there was something in it. Surprise, perhaps, or wonder. "Yes," said Beauty. "The rose was for me. It's only right that I should pay the price. The beast nodded slowly. Your father may leave at first light. You will stay here with me. He turned to the merchant. I give you my word that your daughter will not be harmed. She will want for nothing, but she must remain here forever. That night, Beauty and her father had a tearful farewell. Be brave, my dear child, her father whispered. I will find a way to free you, I promise. Don't worry about me, father, Beauty said, though her own heart was heavy. Take care of yourself and my sisters. In the morning, her father left, and Beauty was alone in the beast's palace. She explored her new home and found it beyond magnificent. The beast had given her the finest rooms in the palace. Her bedroom was larger than their entire cottage had been, with a canopy bed and windows that looked out over beautiful gardens. She had a vast library filled with thousands of books, more than she could read in a lifetime. She had elegant gowns in her wardrobe, though she didn't know when she would wear them. Every evening, the beast came to dine with her. At first, Beauty was frightened, but she was also polite. As days turned to weeks, she found that beneath his terrifying appearance, the beast was thoughtful and kind. He asked about her day, listened when she talked about the books she was reading, and told her about the gardens and the palace. His voice was gruff, but his words were gentle. Beauty, he would say each evening after dinner. Will you marry me? And each evening, Beauty would reply kindly but firmly, I cannot marry you, beast, but I value your friendship. The beast would nod sadly and leave, and Beauty would hear him roar with anguish somewhere in the palace, a sound so full of sorrow that it broke her heart. Months passed. Beauty's life in the palace was comfortable, even pleasant. She had everything she could want, except her freedom and her father. She missed her family terribly, especially her dear father. One evening, she asked the beast if she might see how her father was doing. The beast gave her a magic mirror. Look into this, he said, and you will see whatever you wish to see. Beauty looked into the mirror and saw her father. He was back in their cottage, but he looked terribly ill, lying in bed, growing weaker by the day. He was dying of grief, missing his beloved daughter. Please, Beauty begged the beast, tears streaming down her face. Let me go to him, just for a little while. He needs me. The beast was silent for a long time. Beauty could see the struggle in his eyes. He didn't want to let her go, but he loved her enough to want her happiness above his own. You may go, he said finally, but promise me you will return in 1 week. If you don't return by then, I will die. My life is now bound to yours, Beauty. Without you, I cannot live. He gave her a magic ring. Turn this on your finger when you wish to return, and you will be transported back to the palace instantly. Beauty promised and turned the ring. Instantly, she found herself in her father's cottage. Her father's face lit up with joy when he saw her, and from that moment, he began to recover. Her sisters, who had married but were unhappy in their marriages, were jealous of Beauty's fine clothes and the stories she told of the palace. The week passed quickly, too quickly. Beauty was so happy to be with her father, helping him regain his strength, that she didn't notice how fast the days went by. Her sisters, seeing that she was happy, deliberately turned back all the clocks in the house. They were jealous and wanted the beast to be angry with Beauty for breaking her promise. On what Beauty thought was the 6th day, she had a terrible dream. She dreamed of the beast lying in his rose garden, dying, calling her name weakly. She woke with a start and looked at the real clock. 10 days had passed. She had broken her promise. Without waking anyone, Beauty turned the magic ring on her finger. Instantly, she was back at the palace. She ran through the halls, calling for the beast. But he was nowhere to be found. She searched the palace, growing more desperate, until finally she ran out into the rose garden. There, lying motionless among his beloved roses, was the beast. His eyes were closed, his breathing so shallow she could barely see his chest move. "No!" Beauty cried, throwing herself down beside him. "Beast, please don't die. I'm so sorry I broke my promise. Please, please wake up." She cradled his great head in her lap, tears falling onto his fur. "Beast," she sobbed, "I was foolish. I didn't realize until now. I love you. Please don't leave me. I'll marry you. I'll do anything. Just please don't die." As her tears fell onto his face, something magical happened. The beast's form began to shimmer and change. The fur melted away, the claws retracted, and lying in Beauty's arms was no longer a beast, but a handsome prince with kind eyes. The same kind eyes the beast had always had. The prince sat up and took Beauty's hands in his. "Beauty, you've broken the curse. A wicked fairy enchanted me long ago. She turned me into a beast and said I would remain that way until someone could love me despite my appearance. Many people came to the palace over the years, but they all ran away in fear. Only you stayed. Only you saw past my monstrous appearance to the person within. Your love has freed me." All around them, the palace came to life. Servants appeared. they had been turned to statues by the same curse. Music began to play. Lights blazed in every window. It was as if the whole palace was celebrating. The prince and Beauty were married, and Beauty's father and sisters were brought to the palace. The father wept with joy to see his daughter so happy. The two eldest sisters, seeing Beauty's happiness and goodness rewarded, finally learned to be less selfish and proud. Beauty and her prince ruled their kingdom with wisdom and kindness. Beauty never forgot the lessons she had learned, that true beauty lies within, that love can transform even the most monstrous situations, and that keeping one's promises, even when difficult, is the mark of a noble heart. And they lived happily ever after, surrounded by roses that bloomed all year round, in a palace filled with love and laughter. The night deepens, and the moon climbs higher in the sky. Let us now journey to a tale of kindness, rewarded, of dreams that come true, and of a young woman whose gentle spirit could not be dimmed even by the cruelest treatment. Once upon a time, there lived a wealthy gentleman whose beloved wife had died, leaving him with a young daughter. This little girl was as sweet and kind as her mother had been, with a gentle heart and a loving nature. For a time, father and daughter lived quietly together, mourning the loss of their wife and mother, finding comfort in each other's company. But the gentleman thought his daughter needed a mother's care, and so he remarried. His new wife was a widow with 2 daughters of her own, and she seemed pleasant enough before the wedding. The gentleman thought he was giving his daughter sisters to love and a mother to care for her. How wrong he was. The stepmother's true nature revealed itself as soon as the wedding was over. She was cold, cruel, and vain, and her daughters were just like her, spiteful, selfish, and lazy. They were jealous of the gentleman's daughter, who was far more beautiful and kind than they could ever be, and they were determined to make her life miserable. Before long, the poor girl was dressed in rags, while her stepsisters wore fine gowns. She was given the smallest, coldest room in the attic, while they had large, luxurious bedrooms. She was made to do all the work in the house, cooking, cleaning, washing, mending, from dawn until long after dark, while her stepsisters did nothing but primp and preen and complain. The girl's father, busy with his business and travels, didn't see how badly his daughter was being treated. The stepmother was clever enough to act kindly when he was around, and the girl was too sweet and too dutiful to complain to him about her suffering. Each night, after finishing her endless chores, the girl would sit by the fireplace in the kitchen, among the cinders and ashes to warm herself before climbing the stairs to her cold attic room. Her stepsisters, seeing her sitting there covered in ash and soot, began to call her Cinderella mockingly. The name stuck, and soon everyone had forgotten her real name. Despite all the cruelty she endured, Cinderella remained kind and gentle. She sang while she worked. She was patient with her stepsisters' endless demands, and she never complained about her lot in life. She found joy in small things, the birds that sang outside her window each morning, the flowers that grew in the garden, the warmth of the fire on cold evenings. Years passed in this way. Cinderella grew into a beautiful young woman, and even in her ragged clothes, with ashes on her face, she was far lovelier than her stepsisters in all their finery. This made them hate her even more, and they treated her more cruelly than ever. Now, it happened that the king decided to hold a grand ball at the palace. His son, the prince, was of an age to marry, and the king hoped that among the ladies of the kingdom, the prince might find a bride. Invitations were sent to every household in the land. When the invitation arrived at Cinderella's house, the stepsisters were beside themselves with excitement. "I shall wear my red velvet gown," cried one. "And I shall wear my dress with the gold embroidery," cried the other. "And you, Cinderella," said the stepmother with a cruel smile, "will stay home, of course. You have far too much work to do. Besides, what would you wear? You have nothing fit for a ball." For weeks, the stepsisters talked of nothing but the ball. They ordered new gowns, new shoes, new ribbons, and jewels. They made Cinderella help them prepare, curling their hair, lacing their corsets, fastening their jewelry. Cinderella did everything they asked without complaint, though her heart ached. She would have loved to go to the ball, to dance and see the palace, even just for one evening. On the night of the ball, Cinderella helped her stepsisters dress. She arranged their hair beautifully and told them how lovely they looked, even though they were pinching her and pulling her hair and complaining about everything. Finally, they left in their fine carriage, and Cinderella was alone. She sat down by the fireplace and began to cry. All her patience, all her strength seemed to leave her at once. "I wish I could go to the ball," she whispered through her tears. "Just for one evening, just to see what it's like." "And so you shall, my dear child," said a gentle voice. Cinderella looked up in surprise. Standing before her was an old woman she had never seen before, though somehow she seemed familiar. The woman's eyes were kind and twinkled with magic, and she carried a wand that glowed with a soft silver light. Who are you? Cinderella asked, wiping her tears. I am your fairy godmother, said the old woman, smiling. I've been watching over you all these years, dear child. You've been so kind, so patient, so good, despite all the cruelty you've endured. You deserve a reward. Now dry your tears. You're going to the ball. But how? Asked Cinderella. I have nothing to wear, no way to get there. Leave that to me, said her fairy godmother. Now, first we need a pumpkin. Is there one in your garden? Confused, but hopeful, Cinderella led her godmother to the garden where a large pumpkin grew. The fairy godmother touched it with her wand, and instantly it transformed into a magnificent golden carriage, gleaming in the moonlight. Now we need horses, said the fairy godmother. Are there any mice about? Check the mousetrap in the kitchen. Cinderella ran and found 6 mice in the trap. Her fairy godmother touched each one with her wand, and they became 6 beautiful white horses, prancing and pawing the ground. A coachman, declared the fairy godmother. Look in the garden. Is there a rat there? Behind the watering can, Cinderella found a large rat with impressive whiskers. Another touch of the wand, and he became a dignified coachman with a magnificent mustache. And footmen, said the fairy godmother. Are there any lizards by the garden wall? 2 green lizards were sunning themselves on a stone. With a touch of the wand, they became 2 footmen in splendid livery. There, said the fairy godmother, satisfied. Now for the most important part, you! She waved her wand over Cinderella, and suddenly the girl's ragged dress transformed into the most beautiful gown anyone had ever seen. It was made of silk and satin, embroidered with silver thread, and it sparkled like it was woven from starlight itself. On her feet appeared delicate glass slippers, perfect and clear as crystal. Her hair was dressed beautifully, and a diamond necklace appeared around her neck. Cinderella looked down at herself in amazement. Is this really me? She whispered. It is indeed, said her fairy godmother, and you look beautiful. Now go to the ball and enjoy yourself. But remember, you must leave before midnight. When the clock strikes 12, the spell will be broken. Your coach will become a pumpkin again. Your horses will turn back into mice. Your coachman into a rat. Your footmen into lizards. And your gown will return to rags. You must be home before then. Do you understand? Yes, godmother, said Cinderella. I understand. And thank you so much. she climbed into the golden carriage, and the horses carried her swiftly to the palace. When she arrived, everyone stopped to stare. Who was this mysterious, beautiful lady? No one recognized her. Even her own stepsisters didn't know her. They simply wondered who this elegant stranger was who outshone them so completely. The prince himself came to greet her. He was enchanted by her beauty and grace. "May I have this dance?" he asked, bowing low. Cinderella curtsied and took his hand, and they danced together. They danced and danced. And the prince would not dance with anyone else. He stayed by Cinderella's side all evening, talking with her, laughing with her, falling more deeply under her spell with each passing moment. Cinderella was so happy, happier than she had ever been. She danced as if she were floating on air. She forgot all about her cruel stepmother and stepsisters. She forgot about the gold attic and the cinders and the endless chores. She was simply a young woman at a ball, dancing with a handsome prince, and everything was magical and perfect. But as they danced, she heard the clock begin to chime. It was midnight. In her happiness, she had completely forgotten her fairy godmother's warning. "I must go!" Cinderella cried, pulling away from the surprised prince. "Wait," he called. "I don't even know your name. When can I see you again?" But Cinderella was already running. She fled down the palace steps so quickly that one of her glass slippers came off her foot. But she didn't stop to retrieve it. She kept running, and as she ran, the magic began to fade. Her beautiful gown became rags. Her jewels vanished. Just as she reached the edge of the palace grounds, her carriage turned back into a pumpkin, and her horses, coachmen, and footmen became mice, a rat, and lizards once more. Cinderella walked home in her ragged dress, but she was smiling. She had one glass slipper. Still, it hadn't transformed back because it had been off her foot when midnight struck. She tucked it safely in her pocket. She had been to the ball. She had danced with the prince. For one magical evening, she had been happy, and no one could take that memory away from her. The prince, meanwhile, stood at the top of the palace steps, holding the glass slipper Cinderella had left behind. He had never felt this way about anyone before. He had to find her, but he didn't know her name, didn't know where she lived. All he had was this delicate glass slipper. The next morning, the prince declared that he would marry the woman whose foot fit the glass slipper. He sent his servants throughout the kingdom with the slipper, trying it on every maiden's foot, searching for the mysterious lady from the ball. When the servants came to Cinderella's house, The stepsisters were beside themselves with excitement. The first stepsister tried to squeeze her foot into the slipper, but her foot was far too large. She pushed and pushed, but it was no use. The second stepsister tried, but her foot was too wide. She couldn't get it in either. "Are there any other maidens in this house?" asked the king's servant. "No," said the stepmother quickly. "Only my 2 daughters." But Cinderella stepped forward from the corner where she had been watching. "Please, may I try?" Her stepsisters burst out laughing. You're just a servant. You weren't even at the ball." "Nevertheless," said the king's servant, "I have orders to try the slipper on every maiden in the kingdom." He knelt before Cinderella, and she extended her foot. The glass slipper slid on perfectly. It fit as if it had been made for her, which, of course, it had been. The stepmother and stepsisters gasped in shock and disbelief. And then Cinderella reached into her pocket and pulled out the other glass slipper, the one she had brought home with her, and put it on her other foot. At that moment, her fairy godmother appeared, and with a wave of her wand, transformed Cinderella's rags back into the beautiful gown she had worn to the ball. The stepmother and stepsisters realized that the beautiful lady from the ball had been Cinderella all along. They fell to their knees, begging for forgiveness, suddenly terrified of what might happen to them now that Cinderella would become a princess. But Cinderella, as kind as she had always been, forgave them. "I harbor no ill will toward you," she said gently. "I only hope that you will learn to be kinder to others." The king's servant brought Cinderella to the palace, where the prince was waiting anxiously. When he saw her, his face lit up with joy. "It's you!" he cried. "I've found you at last!" He took her hand and asked her to marry him. And Cinderella, whose heart was already his, said yes. The wedding was the grandest the kingdom had ever seen. Cinderella's father, who finally learned how cruelly his daughter had been treated, wept with joy and shame. He vowed to be a better father and to never again be blind to what was happening in his own home. Cinderella invited her stepmother and stepsisters to the wedding. The 2 stepsisters, humbled by her kindness and generosity, began to change their ways. They learned from Cinderella's example and became, if not kind, at least less cruel than they had been. Cinderella and the prince ruled their kingdom with wisdom and compassion. Cinderella never forgot what it was like to be poor and mistreated, and she made sure that no one in her kingdom suffered as she had suffered. She established charities to help the poor, schools to educate children, and she always had time to listen to anyone who needed help. She and the prince had many children, and she raised them to be kind and generous, to treat everyone with respect regardless of their station in life. She told them her story so they would never take their good fortune for granted and would always remember that kindness and patience are more valuable than all the riches in the world. And they all lived happily ever after, as the night wraps around us like a soft blanket. Let us drift into a tale of enchantment, of a sleep that lasted 100 years, and of true love's power to break even the strongest curse. Once upon a time, in a kingdom blessed with peace and prosperity, there lived a king and queen who wanted nothing more than a child. They had everything else their hearts could desire: a beautiful castle, loyal subjects, vast lands, great wealth. But their palace felt empty without the sound of a child's laughter echoing through its halls. Years passed, and still no child came. The king and queen consulted wise women, made offerings at temples, and prayed every night for a baby. Their hearts grew heavier with each passing year until they had almost given up hope. But then, after many long years of waiting, the queen discovered that at last she was going to have a child. The joy throughout the kingdom was immeasurable. People danced in the streets, bells rang from every tower, and celebrations lasted for days. The king ordered preparations to begin immediately for the grandest christening the world had ever seen. When the baby was born, a perfect, beautiful little girl with golden hair and rosy cheeks, the king and queen were overcome with happiness. They named her Briar Rose, and they loved her more than they had ever thought it possible to love anyone. The christening was planned for several weeks after the birth, to give time for all the preparations. The king wanted everything to be absolutely perfect for his precious daughter. He invited nobles from far and wide, neighboring kings and queens, princes and princesses, and most importantly, he invited the wise women of the kingdom. Now, in this kingdom, there were 13 wise women, magical beings who had the power to bestow gifts upon children. They were ancient and powerful, and their blessings were highly sought after. The king wanted all 13 to come and bless his daughter. But there was a problem. The king had only 12 golden plates from which the wise women could eat at the feast. These were special plates, made generations ago specifically for this purpose, and there were only 12 of them. The king consulted with his advisors. Should they make a new plate? But there wasn't enough time. The christening was approaching, and crafting such a plate with the proper enchantments would take months. Finally, the king made a decision that he would come to regret for the rest of his life. He decided to invite only 12 of the wise women and leave the 13th uninvited. She is the youngest and least powerful, he reasoned. Surely she won't mind being left out just this once. How wrong he was. The day of the christening arrived, and the palace was filled with guests. The 12 wise women who had been invited came, each dressed in magnificent robes, each carrying a gift for the princess. The feast was sumptuous, and everyone ate from golden plates and drank from crystal goblets. After the feast, it was time for the wise women to bestow their gifts upon the baby princess. One by one, they approached the cradle where little Briar Rose lay sleeping peacefully, unaware of the momentous occasion. The first wise woman leaned over the cradle and said in a voice like singing, "I give you the gift of virtue. You shall be the most virtuous princess who ever lived, kind and good in all your ways." The second said, "I give you the gift of beauty. You shall be so lovely that all who see you will be struck with wonder." The third said, "I give you the gift of grace. You shall move like water flowing, like leaves dancing in the breeze." The fourth said, "I give you the gift of wisdom. You shall be clever and wise beyond your years." The fifth said, "I give you the gift of music. You shall sing like a nightingale and play every instrument with mastery." And so it went. Each wise woman gave the princess a marvelous gift. 11 had given their blessings, and the 12th was just stepping forward to give hers, when suddenly the great doors of the hall burst open with a crash that made everyone jump. In swept the 13th wise woman, the one who had not been invited. She was ancient and bent, leaning on a gnarled staff, and her face was twisted with rage. Her eyes blazed with fury as she looked around at the assembled company, at the 12 golden plates on the table, at the 12 sisters who had been invited while she had been forgotten. "So," she said in a voice that made everyone's blood run cold, "you did not think me worthy of an invitation. You did not think me important enough to include." The king stepped forward, his face pale. "Please, wise mother, forgive me. It was not meant as an insult. We had only 12 golden plates, you see, and—" "Silence!" shrieked the old woman. "You have insulted me, and you shall pay for it. Since you did not invite me to give a gift, I shall give one anyway. I shall give the princess my own special blessing." she swept toward the cradle where Briar Rose lay. The baby, who had been sleeping peacefully through all the excitement, opened her eyes and looked up at the angry face above her. The 13th wise woman raised her staff and pointed it at the child. "Hear my curse," she proclaimed, her voice echoing through the hall. "The princess shall indeed grow in beauty and grace and virtue, as my sisters have decreed. But on her 15th birthday, she shall prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel, and she shall die." With that, there was a crack of thunder, a flash of darkness, and the 13th wise woman vanished, leaving only the smell of smoke and the echo of her terrible words. The queen rushed to the cradle and scooped up her baby, holding her close and weeping. The king stood frozen, stricken with horror and guilt. All the guests were silent, stunned by what they had witnessed. Then the 12th wise woman, who had not yet given her gift, stepped forward. "Your Majesty," she said gently, "I cannot undo my sister's curse. Her magic is too strong, and what has been spoken cannot be unspoken. But I still have my gift to give, and I can soften the curse. The princess will indeed prick her finger on a spindle when she is 15, but she will not die. Instead, she will fall into a deep sleep, a sleep that will last for 100 years. At the end of that time, a prince will come and wake her with a kiss, and she will live happily ever after." It was not the blessing anyone had hoped for, but it was far better than death. The king and queen clung to this hope as they thanked the 12th wise woman through their tears. Determined to protect his daughter, the king immediately issued a decree. Every spinning wheel in the kingdom was to be destroyed. Every spindle was to be burned. Anyone found with a spinning wheel would be severely punished. His soldiers went throughout the land, collecting every spinning wheel they could find and burning them in great bonfires. Years passed, and little Briar Rose grew into a beautiful, kind, and clever young woman, just as the wise women had promised. She knew nothing of the curse. Her parents had decided not to tell her, hoping that perhaps, if enough time passed, the curse might somehow be forgotten or avoided. The princess grew up happy and carefree, beloved by everyone who knew her. On the morning of her 15th birthday, the princess woke early, excited for the day's celebrations. Her parents had planned a magnificent party, though underneath their smiles, they were sick with worry. This was the day the curse would come true. They had kept her close, always watched, always guarded. But Briar Rose, restless and curious, decided to explore the castle. She had lived there all her life, but the castle was enormous. with many rooms and towers she had never visited. While her parents were busy with preparations and her guards were distracted, she slipped away. She climbed a narrow, winding staircase in one of the oldest towers, a staircase she had never noticed before. Up and up she went, climbing higher and higher until she reached a small wooden door at the very top. She tried the handle, and it opened easily. Inside was a tiny room, and in that room sat an old woman at a spinning wheel, spinning flax into thread. The old woman looked up and smiled kindly at the princess. "Good morning, dear child," said the old woman. "What brings you to my little room?" "What are you doing?" asked Briar Rose, fascinated. She had never seen a spinning wheel before. After all, they had all been destroyed long ago. "I'm spinning, my dear," said the old woman. "Come, look closer. It's really quite simple." Briar Rose approached, drawn by curiosity. The wheel turned, the spindle spun, and the thread wound around and around. "Can I try?" she asked. "Of course, dear," said the old woman, standing up. "Here, take the spindle like this." Briar Rose reached out to take the spindle. The moment her finger touched it, the sharp point pricked her skin. A single drop of bright red blood welled up, and instantly, Briar Rose felt an overwhelming drowsiness wash over her. Her eyes grew heavy, her limbs weak. She barely had time to take a step before she collapsed onto a nearby bed, falling immediately into a deep, deep sleep. At that exact moment, the curse spread throughout the entire castle. The king, who was walking down a corridor, suddenly stopped mid-step and fell asleep where he stood. The queen, arranging flowers in the great hall, slumped over in her chair, asleep. The servants cooking in the kitchen fell asleep at their work. The guards at the gates dozed off at their posts. The horses in the stables, the dogs in the kennels, the birds in the trees. Everything and everyone in and around the castle fell into a profound slumber. Even the fire in the hearth stopped flickering and seemed to sleep. The very air in the castle became still and silent. It was as if time itself had stopped. Then, as the castle slept, something else began to happen. A hedge of thorns began to grow around the castle walls. It grew rapidly, twisting and winding, rising higher and higher. The thorns were long and sharp, and the branches were so thick and tangled that soon they completely surrounded the castle, hiding it from view. Within a year, nothing of the castle could be seen, just an impenetrable wall of thorns that grew taller with each passing year. The story of the sleeping princess spread throughout the land and beyond. She became known as Briar Rose, named for the thorny hedge that hid her. Many brave princes heard the tale and came to try to fight their way through the hedge to reach the castle and wake the princess. But the thorns were alive with evil magic. They wound around anyone who tried to pass, catching them fast. And many young men died there, trapped in the cruel embrace of the thorns. Years passed. Decades. The kingdom around the castle changed. The people who had known the king and queen grew old and died. New generations were born who knew the story only as an old legend. The castle became a mystery, a fairy tale, something that might or might not have really existed. 100 years passed. Then, one day, a prince from a distant land was traveling through the kingdom. He was young and brave and adventurous, and he stopped at an inn for the night. As he sat by the fire, he heard an old man telling stories. "And beyond those hills," the old man said, "there's a forest where a great hedge of thorns grows. They say that hidden behind those thorns is a castle where a beautiful princess sleeps, along with everyone in the castle. They've been sleeping for 100 years, waiting for someone to wake them." The prince's interest was caught. 100 years? He asked. "And no one has gotten through?" The old man shook his head sadly. "Many have tried. Many brave princes lost their lives in those thorns. They say the hedge is cursed, that only the right person at the right time can pass through." The prince thought about this all night. In the morning, he set out to find the hedge of thorns. When he reached it, he saw that it was just as impressive and fearsome as the old man had said. The thorns were long and sharp, the branches thick and gnarled. He could see, caught among them, the remains of those who had tried before and failed. But the prince didn't know that this day was special. This was the exact day that marked 100 years since Briar Rose had pricked her finger. The curse was about to end. As the prince approached the hedge, something miraculous happened. The thorny branches began to move. They untangled themselves, pulling back, creating a path. Where there had been thorns, beautiful flowers bloomed. Roses of every color, white and pink and deep red, filling the air with their sweet perfume. The prince walked forward, amazed, as the hedge opened before him like a doorway. He walked through the opening and found himself in the castle courtyard. Everything was silent and still. He saw guards sleeping at their posts, their hands still on their weapons. In the stables, horses slept standing up. Dogs dozed in the sunshine. It was the strangest sight he had ever seen. A castle frozen in time, everyone caught mid-action in whatever they had been doing 100 years ago. The prince entered the castle itself. He walked through halls where servants slept in the middle of their tasks. He passed the great hall where the king and queen slumbered on their thrones. He climbed staircases and explored rooms, searching for the princess he had heard about in the story. Finally, he found the narrow, winding staircase in the old tower. He climbed up and up until he reached the small wooden door at the top. He opened it and stepped inside. There, on a bed in a small room where an old spinning wheel gathered dust, lay the most beautiful young woman he had ever seen. She wore a gown that had been fashionable 100 years ago, and her golden hair spread across the pillow like a halo. She looked so peaceful, so lovely, that the prince stood for a long moment simply looking at her, his heart filling with a feeling he had never experienced before. He knew, somehow, that this was the moment he had been born for. He stepped forward and leaned down over the sleeping princess. Gently, reverently, he kissed her forehead. Instantly, Briar Rose's eyes opened. She looked up and saw the prince, and she smiled as if she had been expecting him. "Is it you?" she asked softly. "Have you come at last?" "I have," said the prince, taking her hand, "and I'll never leave you again." At that moment, the spell broke completely. Throughout the castle, everyone began to wake up. The king woke and completed the step he had been taking 100 years before. The queen woke and finished arranging her flowers. The servants in the kitchen continued cooking, though the food had long since turned to dust. The guards yawned and stretched and returned to their duties. The horses whinnied, the dogs barked, the birds sang. Life returned to the castle as if no time had passed at all. The king and queen rushed to find their daughter and found her coming down the stairs, hand in hand, with the handsome prince. There were tears and embraces and exclamations of joy and wonder. The prince explained who he was and how he had found the castle, and Briar Rose told them about pricking her finger on the spindle and falling asleep. A great celebration was prepared, or rather, the celebration that had been prepared 100 years ago was finally held. The prince and Briar Rose were married, and it was the most joyous wedding the kingdom had ever seen. As for the hedge of thorns, it disappeared completely, replaced by a beautiful rose garden that bloomed all year round. The kingdom prospered under the rule of Briar Rose and her prince, and they lived long, happy lives, grateful for every moment they had together. and they never, ever allowed another spinning wheel anywhere near the castle. The kingdom flourished, and the story of the Sleeping Beauty was told for generations. A reminder that true love can overcome any obstacle, that patience is rewarded, and that happy endings do come to those who wait, even if the wait is 100 years long. As our night of storytelling draws toward its close and the stars begin to fade, let us journey into one final tale, a story of loyalty and sacrifice, of a sister's love for her brothers, and of the power of silence and perseverance. Once upon a time, a king was hunting in a great forest. He pursued a deer deep into the woods, riding so hard and so far that eventually his companions fell behind. When the king finally stopped, breathless and tired, he realized he was completely lost. The trees towered around him, thick and dark, and he had no idea which way would lead him home. As the sun began to set and shadows lengthened, the king grew worried. He rode this way and that, trying to find a path, but everything looked the same. Just as he was beginning to despair, he saw an old woman approaching through the trees. She was bent and wrinkled, with piercing eyes that seemed to see right through him. "Please," said the king, "can you show me the way out of this forest?" The old woman smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "I can show you the way," she said slowly, "but only if you agree to marry my daughter. She is the most beautiful maiden in the world, and she deserves to be a queen." The king hesitated. He had been married before, and his wife had died, leaving him with 7 children, 6 boys and 1 girl, whom he loved more than life itself. He was reluctant to remarry, especially to someone chosen by this strange old woman. But night was falling, and he feared he might die in the forest if he refused. "Very well," he said at last. "I agree." The old woman led him out of the forest to a cottage where her daughter lived. The daughter was indeed beautiful, with raven hair and eyes like midnight. But there was something cold about her beauty, something that made the king uneasy. Still, he had given his word, and so he married her and brought her back to his castle as his queen. Now, the king loved his children so much that he feared his new wife might not treat them well, or worse, might harm them. So he took them to a secret castle deep in the forest, a place so hidden that no one could find it unless they knew the way. The path to the castle was winding and confusing, and the king could only find it by using a magic ball of thread that a wise woman had given him. When he threw the ball down, it would unroll and show him the path. The king visited his children as often as he could, but he never told his new queen where they were. However, the queen noticed that he often disappeared, and her curiosity grew into suspicion. What was her husband hiding from her? Where did he go? One day, she bribed the king's servants with gold, and they told her about the children and the magic ball of thread. The queen's eyes glittered with malice. She was an enchantress, just like her mother, and she knew dark magic. She hated these children who claimed her husband's love that she felt should be hers alone. Using her magic, the queen discovered where the king kept the ball of thread. Then she sewed 6 little white shirts using silk as white as snow and as soft as clouds. Into each shirt, she wove a terrible curse. The next time the king left the castle, the queen took the magic ball of thread and followed the path it revealed. She walked through the forest until she came to the secret castle. The king's 6 sons were playing in the courtyard, and when they saw someone approaching, they thought it was their father returning. They ran toward the figure joyfully, but it was the wicked queen. Quick as lightning, she threw the 6 white shirts over the 6 boys. The moment the shirts touched them, the princes transformed. Their arms became wings, their bodies became covered in white feathers, and they rose into the air as 6 beautiful white swans. They circled overhead once, crying out in voices that were no longer human, and then they flew away over the forest, disappearing into the distance. The queen smiled with cruel satisfaction and returned to the castle, believing she had rid herself of all the king's children. But she had made one mistake. The king had 7 children, not 6. The youngest was a girl, a princess who had been in her chamber when the queen arrived. The princess heard the commotion and looked out her window just in time to see her 6 brothers transform into swans and fly away. She watched in horror as they disappeared, and her heart broke with grief and fear. When her father returned that evening, the princess ran to him and told him everything. How a woman had come to the castle, how she had thrown white shirts over the princes, how they had turned into swans and flown away. The king was devastated. He rushed to his wife's chambers to confront her, but the queen pretended to know nothing about it. And without proof, the king could do nothing. The young princess could not bear to stay in the castle any longer. Her beloved brothers were gone, and she was determined to find them and save them, no matter what it took. One morning before dawn, she slipped out of the castle and into the forest. She walked all day, searching for any sign of her brothers, calling their names, looking up at every bird that flew overhead. As night fell, she came to a small clearing and could go no farther. Exhausted, she lay down beneath a tree and fell asleep. She dreamed of her brothers, of playing with them in the castle gardens, of their laughter and their love. She woke at dawn to a strange sound, the beating of wings. She opened her eyes and saw 6 white swans descending from the sky. They landed in the clearing around her, and as the first rays of sunlight touched them, they transformed back into her brothers. "Sister," they cried, embracing her. "How did you find us?" "I've been searching for you," she said, weeping with joy. "What has happened to you? What curse is this?" The eldest brother explained, "Our stepmother is a wicked enchantress. She has cursed us. Every day, from sunrise to sunset, we are swans and must fly through the sky. Only at night, when the sun sets, can we return to our human forms. We have no home now. We must constantly move, always flying, never resting. There must be a way to break the curse," cried the princess. "Tell me what I must do, and I will do it." The brothers looked at each other sadly. "There is one way," said the eldest at last, "but it is nearly impossible. You would have to sew 6 shirts from star flowers, and you must not speak or laugh for 6 years while you sew. If you speak even a single word, or laugh even once during those 6 years, all your work will be for nothing, and we will be swans forever. And the shirts must be completed by the end of the 6 years, or the curse cannot be broken." The princess did not hesitate for even a moment. "Then I will do it," she said firmly. "I will not speak, I will not laugh, and I will sew the shirts. I will free you, my dear brothers, no matter what it costs me." Before her brothers transformed back into swans with the rising sun, they embraced her once more. "We will come back to this spot every evening," they promised. "We will watch over you as much as we can." And so began the princess's long trial. She gathered star flowers, tiny white flowers that only grew in the deepest parts of the forest, and began to sew. She worked day and night, her fingers moving constantly, stitching the delicate flowers together with thread she made from their stems. And she did not speak. When birds sang to her, she did not sing back. When the wind whispered through the trees, she did not whisper in reply. Every evening, her brothers would return and spend the night with her in their human forms. They would talk to her, trying to keep her spirits up, but she could not respond. It pained them to see her working so hard in silence, but they knew she was doing it for love of them. Months passed. The princess's hands became rough and scarred from the constant work. Her clothes became ragged. she grew thin because she had to spend most of her time sewing rather than gathering food. But still, she did not speak. And still, she sewed. One day, as she sat in the forest sewing, a hunting party rode by. At their head was a young king from a neighboring kingdom. He saw the princess sitting beneath a tree, ragged and dirty, but still beautiful, sewing strange shirts made of flowers. He was immediately captivated by her. "Who are you?" he asked, dismounting from his horse. "What are you doing here, all alone in the forest?" The princess looked up at him, but said nothing. She simply returned to her sewing. The king tried again, asking her name, where she came from, whether she needed help. But she remained silent, never speaking a word, though her eyes were kind and her expression gentle. The king was enchanted by her mystery and her beauty. There was something noble about her, despite her ragged appearance. He decided he would not leave her alone in the dangerous forest. "Come with me," he said gently. "Come to my castle. You will be safe there, and you can continue your sewing. I only want to help you." The princess hesitated. She looked at her brother's shirts. She had completed 3 and was working on the 4th. She thought of her brothers, who came to her every evening. But winter was coming, and soon the forest would be too cold and dangerous. Perhaps in the king's castle, she could work more quickly, in safety and comfort, and her brothers could find her wherever she was. So she nodded and gathered up her shirts and her bag of star flowers. The king lifted her onto his horse, and they rode to his castle. The king gave her a beautiful room with everything she could need. He brought her food, gave her fine clothes, which she did not wear, preferring her old ragged dress for sewing, and visited her every day. He fell more deeply in love with her each time he saw her. She was always gentle, always kind, though she never spoke. Her silence did not seem strange or cold. It seemed purposeful, as if she was keeping a sacred vow. After a year had passed, the king asked her to marry him. The princess's heart was torn. She had grown to care for this kind king who asked nothing from her, but accepted her silence without complaint. But how could she marry him when she could not speak her vows? How could she explain to him about her brothers, about the curse, about why she had to keep sewing these strange shirts? But the king saw the answer in her eyes. "You don't have to speak," he said softly. "Just nod if you will have me." And the princess, thinking that perhaps with the resources of a queen, she could finish the shirts more quickly, nodded yes. They were married in a quiet ceremony. The princess could not speak her vows, but she placed her hand in the king's, and that was enough. She became queen, but she did not give up her task. Every day she sewed, her fingers flying, adding more and more flowers to the shirts. She had finished 4 shirts now, and was working on the 5th. The king's mother, however, did not approve of her son's choice. "What kind of queen is this?" she said scornfully. "She doesn't speak. She wears rags. She spends all her time sewing strange shirts. She's probably a witch or under some evil spell. My son should have married a proper princess." But the king loved his silent queen and would not hear any criticism of her. Years passed. The queen gave birth to a baby, a beautiful child with eyes like its father. The queen loved her child dearly, but even motherhood did not make her break her silence. She continued to sew every moment she could, for time was running out. She was in her 5th year of silence. Now, with only 1 year left. Then tragedy struck. One night, when the queen fell asleep with her baby beside her, the king's wicked mother crept into the room. She took the baby away and hid it with a kind peasant family in a distant village. Then smeared blood on the queen's lips while she slept. In the morning, the mother-in-law raised an alarm. "The queen has devoured her own child. Look at the blood on her mouth. She's a monster." The court was horrified. The king was called, and he saw the blood on his wife's lips and the empty cradle where his child had been. His heart broke, but he could not believe his gentle wife would do such a terrible thing. "There must be an explanation," he said. "Wife, please speak. Tell us what happened." But the queen could not speak. She had less than a year left of her 6 years of silence. If she spoke now, all would be lost. Her brothers would be swans forever. So she remained silent, though tears streamed down her face. The same thing happened a year later when she had a 2nd child, and then a 3rd year later with a 3rd child. Each time, the wicked mother-in-law stole the baby and made it look like the queen had harmed it. Each time, the queen could not explain. Finally, the court and the people demanded justice. "She must be executed," they cried. "She has murdered 3 royal children. She must burn." The king tried to defend her, but even he was beginning to doubt. Why would she not speak? Why would she not defend herself? With a heavy heart, he agreed that she must be tried, and the court found her guilty. She was sentenced to be burned at the stake. On the morning of her execution, the queen was led to the courtyard where a great pyre had been built. It was exactly 6 years to the day since she had begun her vow of silence. In her arms, she carried 6 shirts made of star flowers. She had finished the last one just the night before, though the final shirt was missing one sleeve because she had run out of time. As the guards tied her to the stake and prepared to light the fire, she looked up at the sky, and there, flying toward the castle, she saw 6 white swans. Her heart leaped with joy and relief. She had done it. 6 years of silence, 6 years of sewing, and now her brothers were here. The swans descended into the courtyard, and the queen threw the 6 shirts over them. Instantly, they transformed back into her 6 brothers, handsome princes all, though the youngest was missing one arm because his shirt had been missing a sleeve. In its place was a swan's wing. "Sister!" they cried, rushing to her side. The eldest brother quickly told the astonished crowd the whole story about their wicked stepmother, the curse, and their sister's brave sacrifice to save them. "And that is why she could not speak," he proclaimed. "She kept silent for 6 years to break the curse that bound us. She is innocent of all charges. She is the most loyal, loving, brave person who has ever lived." The queen's voice, unused for so long, came out hoarse and broken. But it came. "My children," she said to the king, "ask your mother where our children are. I have harmed no one." The king's mother was seized and questioned. Under pressure, she finally confessed and revealed where she had hidden the 3 children. They were brought back to the castle, healthy and happy, having been well cared for by the kind peasant family. The wicked mother-in-law was banished from the kingdom forever, and there was great rejoicing. The queen's brothers stayed at the castle, and even the youngest, with his swan's wing, lived happily, for it reminded them all of the love that had saved them. The king begged his wife's forgiveness for ever doubting her, and she forgave him freely. Her voice grew strong again, and she told her children the story of their uncles and the 6 swans. The family lived in peace and happiness for many years, and the tale of the silent queen and her loyalty was told throughout the land for generations to come. And so ends our final tale of this night. Sleep now, dear listener, and dream of loyalty and love, of patience rewarded and family reunited. May you rest peacefully, knowing that those who persevere through hardship, who stay true to their loved ones, no matter the cost, will find their happy ending in the fullness of time. Good night, and may your dreams be sweet and gentle until the morning light. And so, dear friends, our journey through these timeless tales comes to an end. We have traveled together through kingdoms of magic and wonder, met brave heroes and heroines, witnessed curses broken and true love found. May these stories comfort you as you drift off to sleep, and may you wake tomorrow refreshed and renewed, carrying with you the lessons of kindness, courage, patience, and love that live within these ancient tales. Until we meet again in the realm of stories, sleep well, dream sweetly, and good night. The end.